Okay, with more from the picket lines, we're joined by entertainment attorney and freelance journalist Jonathan Handel. Hi, it's good to see you. Day 133.
Is that what it is? 133?
Yes, and we are counting, and you've been with us each and every week. Where did negotiations stand? I know there's been some more infighting, and now there's talk of sort of the WGA forgetting about the main studio head and going to individual studios.
Well, so the AMPTP, the Alliance of Motion Picture Television Producers, is the alliance of the studios and the streamers that they have been negotiating with. But interestingly, when the WGA was fighting against the talent agencies, they picked them off one by one and said to the Association of Talent Agents, we're not going to talk with you as a group. Now, they don't have the right to force that choice here because this is a labor and employer situation, but they have been picking at it. And the AMPTP did fracture in the late 70s. In fact, it was the association at the time. It became the alliance, and there were separate negotiations at one point. So that may happen, but it's a sensitive issue.
Okay, well, we'll see if that works out. In the meantime, I know a lot of headlines have had Drew Barrymore in them because she is returning to her talk show even as the strike goes on. And there are several other shows, we can put that up, that are returning without WGA writers. You see Drew Barrymore, the Jennifer Hudson Show, The Talk, etc. Is this, what do you make of this move? And do you think it's an early domino? Could we see late night coming back, for instance?
Well, we could see late night coming back, but the dominoes wouldn't go further than that into scripted because that's a whole other kettle of fish. This is an interesting situation. The Writers Guild agreement that covers TV, theatrical, scripted also covers these shows. So they're going back without their WGA writers. Either they're improving or they're bringing in what the union considers scab replacement writers, non-union writers. However, the SAG-AFTRA contract only covers TV theatrical, the one that struck, and they have a separate agreement that doesn't expire until next year that covers talk shows, game shows, also soap operas. So they are not in any way stepping on SAG-AFTRA's toes, but the Writers Guild, on the other hand, has been picketing, for example, Drew's show in New York.
Do you expect fallout?
Well, it's hard to know. You know, I mean, there's certainly some reputational fallout already with Drew and a push back and a push forward. Whether the writers will return or even be asked to return, you know, when the strike ends, that's hard to know. It's a difficult, touchy situation.
Okay, well, there was a big election. This was for the SAG president and several other positions within SAG, the actors union. And Fran Drescher, she won handily along with Jolie Richards. She got 81% of the vote. What does this say about rank and file? They seem to be on board with how things are going. They
really are. And this was actually for the entire national board, the Secretary Treasurer and also the President, of course, Fran Drescher. It was a unity slate between the two main factions in SAG-AFTRA that ran with Fran, Jolie, and all the others. And so there's no great dissatisfaction among the membership. Actors are used to holding out. They often don't work that often to begin with.
And tomorrow, there is a big solidarity rally.
That's right.
We've seen these happen time and time again along the weeks it's been. The main one, I believe, is at Netflix in Hollywood.
At Netflix, and I think they marched to Paramount, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so on this big solidarity rally, what can we expect tomorrow?
Well, more cheers, more enthusiasm.
Does it make a difference, though?
Does it make a difference? Well, you know, when you've got a strike that lasts this long, you've got to keep people engaged, and so that's really what this is about. It's not so much a difference as it is a continuation of the situation that if we don't see a deal with both unions within the next 4 weeks or so, and we're unlikely to, frankly, we probably won't see a deal until next year because you get into November, the holiday season, and the amount of time it takes to do these deals and get them ratified.
You've been saying that since day one, that it was going to last until 2024. Do you think it's going to go even further beyond January, February?
It might. And, you know, then you start getting into the expiration of the other SAG-AFTRA contract I alluded to, and also the IA, the crew union, and the Teamsters. Their contracts expire, you know, in the spring and midsummer and so forth. And it becomes a mashup. It's a hot labor year.
Really? Yeah, a hot labor summer turns into a hot labor year. All right. Jonathan Handel, we'll leave it right there, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Next week it is.
Thank you so much.